Good evening, folks. Welcome. We're a little late, but we're still here. We ready to go. We are excited about tonight. I got my main man Regis right next to me, but we're gonna have that tough topic tonight. It's a hard topic. It's a true topic.
Yeah.
Who said numbers don't lie? Creative financing with JB. We letting you know about the next step of this journey here, and it's through credit. We always talk about what can I do for my credit? Why is my credit like this? Why do I got all this stuff happening to me? I'm gonna let you speak to the expert. I'm not gonna deny that opportunity. I'm gonna give you the opportunity so you can ask your questions. You can go on pause your information that you might need so we can go ahead and make this a reliable meeting podcast. We're saving this on YouTube, so don't lose out on the information because we need to have that. And we're going to put Reg contact information across the screen because once y'all get hold of him, I know when y'all come to me, y'all going to be great. I ain't going to worry about it. But Reg, I'm going to take it away and let you just introduce yourself a little bit, and then we're going to drop these questions on you.
Yeah. My name is Reggie. Johnny, I so appreciate you allowing me on the show. I so appreciate that. My name is Reggie Adams, and I'm a credit. I call it myself a credit connoisseur. And so I am that guy that you come to that's going to help you. It's a spread. I call it a connoisseur because it's a spread of different things that I'm going to do. From helping to remove collections, judgments, bankruptcies, helping you to get that house, helping you to get a few things off your report, removing inquiries, adding trade lines. So you name it, that's just who I am. So hey, I'm excited to be on.
Yes, indeed. So we're gonna get down to it because you heard what it is. That a lot of folks they want these things done, Reg. But we look at people credit. We all made mistakes. We all make them honestly. But tell me some of the biggest things that you see on credit reports that people don't even pay attention to, probably. And it's a big hinder.
They don't pay attention to the inquiries. Inquiries is a killer. I don't care how great your credit is. Inquiries. When you've got over the credit bureau only allows you about 2 to 3 per 2 years. Per 2 years. That's why it sits on the report for 2 years. And most people they don't even pay attention to the inquiries, hard inquiries, and it really eats at them. They go to a dealership looking for a car, and what happens to them is what I call shotgunning their credit. The dealer is going to shotgun their credit to every financial institute to get them to see if they would finance you. And yes, you may drive out of there with a vehicle, but at the cost of about 15 inquiries. And then your credit went from, you say, hey, I'm a 7. I went in there as a 7. You went in it as a 7, but you came out as a 6.
Right. And tell me, with those inquiries, people say, man, it should just be, it happened at one time. Why is that a problem?
Yeah, it's a problem because you only get 2 to 3. Your credit has got to be gold. When you give that social security number out, you got to know that you can, number one, get it. And that's number two, what you really want. And so if you're not sure that you can get it, and if you're not sure that's what you really want, when you go and give that man at that car dealership, he's gonna shop you around to multiple banks, multiple credit unions to see who comes back. And a lot of times, the banks may turn you down, and they'll go for the secondary lender, and that the secondary lender will accept you at a rate that's extremely high. I've seen it years ago. I've seen it as high as 21% that somebody would get a car, which means by the time you pay that car off, you've paid for it about 3 times over.
Wow. So how can people prevent that, Reg? I mean, what are some of the things that they can have that stands out that they might want to know to help them in that process?
Yeah, one of the things I think is important is go and have your credit pulled at least once or twice a year. Have it pulled. There you can get it for free. It doesn't cost you. If you go to annualcredit.com, you can go to annual credit repair and annualcredit.com, and they allow you to pull that report once a year. Now they allow you to pull, I think this twice. So you can pull that credit report from there and then print it off and take it with you. The greatest thing you can do is take that credit report to any dealership, let them get a glimpse of it, and they can kind of tell you where to kind of send it to. And here's the other thing: go to your bank, go to your personal bank, send it to them. I have them to look at it first and see if they are willing to do it. But you need to do your homework, do your due diligence, find out what the limited credit score that they need. Because if you go to finance a car through any bank or any credit union, they'll tell you what they need. Certain credit unions need at least a 650 or better before they will even look at you. And if you go in there, I don't care if you're at, it's a very rarity to go in at a 640 and they say yes. But most of the time, especially if you're getting the computer to approve you. So my suggestion would be is to go in there and to physically talk with somebody.
Yeah, and we got a question that come up. How are credit reports created? I mean, do I start out having a credit report, or is it based when I obtain credit, or who creates this credit report? Do I create it? Do the bureau create it?
As soon as you cough into this world, you got a social security number. Yeah, it's already assigned to you when you cough, took your first breath. And so in that whole process, you have it. And so when you come of a certain age, you have to begin to build that because if you've done nothing, if you've not purchased anything, you don't have any credit. And they say, well, no credit is good credit, right? No credit is still bad credit, because now you got to have somebody that's willing to take a chance on you.
And so yeah, that thing's created. And when do say if I never do nothing, I'm 30, I done pay, back in the day we used to just pay cash.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cash was king back then.
So where do we start getting credit at? I know people go in college and they talk about, oh man, I went to college, they offered me a credit card, I took it. But where does it start to really obtain? Because in the community we never really taught about this credit thing.
No, we weren't. A lot of times, if we were been educated, we would probably be in a different tax bracket right now if we were better educated. Most of the times, you go to college and they do offer you these credit cards that starting at somewhere around $500. And I had a buddy of mine who they gave him a credit card and he thought it was free money, spent it all the way up, and then they cut the card off and wanted their money in return. And he was like, I thought it was free money. Nothing in life is free. It's going to cost you something. And so, yeah, he needed to have that. But I would say you would start, number one, making sure you're disciplined. Without proper discipline, it doesn't matter if they give you a card because you're not disciplined enough to keep it. So I would say start off with a credit card. You can start off with something like Capital One will give you $300 for a card. Doesn't sound like much, but if you stay with it, and I can teach you how to build this thing, it will blossom into something nicely, and you'll be looking at somewhere around $10,000 to $20,000 when you can show somebody that you are disciplined enough to handle the money. Whatever you're going to use, make sure that you pay it off. You're able to pay it off.
Right. And that's that's important because a lot of times people get to the stage of not understanding what to do when they get this credit and manage it and keep going. And people ask, man, Reg, why do I have so many addresses on my credit report? I mean,
great question.
Why is that?
Yeah. So everywhere you've been, a record is being kept because, of course, somebody is pulling you. There's something called Dun & Bradstreet. Dun & Bradstreet is pulling you. Your information goes from people purchase it. Dun & Bradstreet is going to purchase it. It's going to go into a pool. So everywhere you go, they're keeping up with you everywhere. No matter if you've moved from here to there, they're keeping up with you. And so all of these places where you've been are on your report. And so too many of them can be red flags because that means you're not stable. You're
Mm.
not settled. So to the average person to the creditor who's looking at you, who wants to extend credit to you, he won't extend because he don't know where you live. You've been only here for 6 months, and you've been
Mm.
at the next place for 6 months. You've been there for 2 months, so he's not sure if he can get his money back. So he will deny you, even if your score is where it needs to be.
Oh, really? Yeah, with all
Yeah,
those addresses and stuff.
with all
So,
those addresses.
so I mean, growing up, we move around and we probably rent. How do we prevent that? Or how do we manage that type of?
Well, that's where you gotta, it comes in with us. You're pulling that report. You're looking at that report constantly. You're trying to see what's on there. Most people do not pull their report. They have not pulled their report. They don't care as long as they got money in their pocket or money in the bank. They don't pull anything. So I'm going to suggest you do at least twice a year is pulling that report, seeing, just kind of combing through, just because sometimes, listen, it's not just about where you've been and where you are. Sometimes it ain't even you. They've got your name not spelled properly. They've got a different middle name in there, and it's not even you. I've seen that. Or they've got a suffix, a junior or the third, and that's not even you either. So it could be somebody. I've seen it to the point where it literally was the person down the street who had the same first name and last name as that individual did.
Wow. And how often should I pull my report? You said twice a year. Should I do it
Yeah,
in January and June? Should I do it January, July, or?
yeah. I would say January and July. Pull it about the first of the year and the middle of the year just to see. And of course, it's always good to be able to, if you want to see it on a regular basis, go to Credit Karma. Now, I'm really going against the grain here because I do not recommend Credit Karma. I
Right.
just don't recommend them to see the accuracy of your scores. But I do recommend them that you can see at least what's on the report, that
Mm.
you can get a snapshot of what's on the report, and
So
that
you can take
they
a
will
peek.
give you.
So is it better to see like TransUnion, Experian, or Equifax,
Yeah,
or I
absolutely. It's
need?
best to go to straight to the depot. You can go straight to transunion.com. You can go to myequifax.com. You can go to Experian.com. Sign up. Doesn't cost you anything. Sign up, and they will give you your report. You can actually look at it and tell what's on there.
And which one? I guess every creditor uses a different report there. If
Yeah.
we have to say, and how do we know? Do we just ask them, or you
Yeah,
know?
you'll see the free one, of course, is I think it's FICO 8. It's different FICOs. You got FICO
Mhm.
8, you got FICO 4, you got FICO 6, you got FICO now 10. So it just depends on what you're going after and what part of the world you're getting credit from, that you can see where they're going to be pulling your FICO from.
And you said something. You said a whole lot right there. FICO 8, 6,
Yeah.
10. What's the difference?
Well, it's for different things. Certain FICOs are for mortgages. Certain FICOs are for automobiles. Certain FICOs is just for the consumers. Just for obtaining a loan or approval for an apartment or different things. So it's different FICOs that they have out here, and it all depends on what the individual is going after.
Okay, so if I'm going after a house, I need to, which one would be the best to know about? Is it the 10, I guess, because it's the highest, or?
Well, 10 is great, but every mortgage company doesn't pull from them. The greatest thing that you can do is ask the people you're trying to obtain credit from, what FICO are you pulling from? Because you can go and work on FICO 3. FICO 3 can be clean as a whistle. It can have sevens across the board. But you go to FICO 10, and you've got about a 560. And you say, hey, I know I'm going to get approved. You going up in there confident. And they're like, yeah, no, try back. And then you tell them, what are you talking about? And so you want to ask them, where do they pull from?
Oh wow, wow. And it is based on how soon they are, or is FICO 3 slower to report, I guess, than
No,
10? Or
it's just a different FICO for different things. So the mortgage company will pull from one where well, they're going to see it on three, but they may not pull from three. So and then some may pull from three. It just depends on who is the lender and where they're pulling from. If they're pulling from three, if they're pulling from 10, where they're pulling from. Generalization, just generalization, you're gonna get pulled from I think it was either 3 or 8. Just generalization. That
Mhm.
means you can go anywhere, pull that report up, and there it is. It's gonna give you a generalization. But if you're trying to get the something specific, the mortgage or whatever, they may pull from a different one,
Credit
and that's where
reports.
they'll get a chance to see some stuff. But here's the thing: if you start clearing it up on whether it's 3, whether it's 6, whether it's 8, whether it's 10, you start clearing things up, it'll start affecting the other ones.
Are they international? Are those credit reports
Yeah, well,
international?
I mean, they'll go across the board. As far as I know, they are, but it possibly may not be, because I think at a certain point you can then people start using various things to obtain credit with, whether it's business credit, tax identification, EIN numbers. So just but as far as stateside, as long as you got a social, you can kind of maneuver within the states.
hmm This is so funny. People said, we see this all the time. Good, excellent, fair, good, fair, poor, very poor. I think, if it's up to me, I might say to myself, "Yo, I'm 680. I'm good. I mean, what's those brackets look like for credit scores? How do they break that and determine what's poor, what's very poor, what's fair, what's good, what's excellent?"
Well, right now, a high score, I've seen the high score as high as 850. So when you think about 850 as an excellent score and a person at a 650, times have changed. And when they added this other FICO in, that's they were able to maneuver these numbers, and some of the ratings change. It used to be at a 600, it said good at a 600. And it's of course the higher up, of course, the better it got. But now because they have this 850 in, they can look at a 6 and say it's poor, or
hmm
average. Actually, they'll say something like average of that. So anything below that, according to them, you don't even show up on the radar.
Anything? Wow, wow. Anything lower than
Yeah,
that?
because years ago before the market tanked, you used to be able to get a house at a 580. You can't get a house at a 580 anymore. I mean, 580 was really a stretch to get a secondary lender. But
hmm
now, I remember several years ago, it went up to a 620, and then it was a 640, then it was a 660. And so they want to know the higher up you go, because of course now a 600 is showing as average.
hmm hmm What's the difference in a consumer report and a credit report?
The consumer report is not much of a difference, but the consumer report is just something that you and I look at. For us, the credit report is across the board, global, not globally, but across the board, what we're looking at, which is the different FICOs that we're looking at, the different credit report. There's only, I know we call it the credit report, but these are just people who report. Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. The true credit report an agency is Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB.
hmm So this is the next question. What's the difference between um, a credit repair and credit enhancement? People say, "Is this credit repair or this credit enhancement? What is this?"
I think people use these words enhancement. They use these words to as a worm on the hook to draw you in. And so we're really counselors. And
hmm
so you start counseling people about how to maneuver, what needs to be done, and then we can take the action. Credit repair was a very horrible name years ago, because you had people who were taking people's resources and they were doing absolutely nothing, and they had bad names. But now, you have people now who are across the board using it. So, not really a credit repair, but more of counselor. So, you sit down, we pull a full scope of what's going on your report, and then offer the suggestions to go ahead and get this um, get this completed for you, so that you can go on and have a better life, quality of
Mhm.
life.
Yeah, and it's something, we starting to see a lot of this now. People talking about credit sweeps and
Yeah.
I'll take everything off. And tell us a little bit about that stuff, what's happening, and is it legal? I mean, are we?
Yeah, you got all kinds of people out here promising the world. They're promising to take it off in 7 days. There are laws that are governed, even the creditors. Even Congress did something a couple of years ago that helped to govern that. If you know some of the laws, you could get something removed within 3 days, but it was with the laws. But if you don't have the laws, just to say, "Hey, I'm going to sweep it off," not happening. You possibly could do it. However, you're doing some underhanding things in that. And, to promise that to somebody is a false narrative. So I would not say it is. If you say, "Well, I'm going to go with my cousin know how to do it," that's great. But what if you get audited? Your cousin may skip town on you, and now you're holding the bag to have to explain. So these whole sweeps, and we gotta stop listening to stuff on TikTok. I was actually on that today, looking at a few things, and I was like, "That's not true." And I wasn't the
Mhm.
only one. There were, it was 10 other people saying this is not true. But they were doing it for clicks. Of course, you get so many of them, people start to get paid off of the lie.
Oh, wow, wow! Because
Yeah.
people's watching for that. Because we want something so quick, you
Yeah,
know.
we want it so quick. We want it now. I always say this: Rome won't built in a day, and you're not getting ready to get out of your situation in one day either. It took you years to get in, and you can't put the pressure on me to get you out in a week. Not happening.
Right, right, for this stuff. So you see that, and you'll see these things. I'm gonna remove that from there, but we done seen this too, Red. That stuff come back right back on. I
Yeah,
mean,
sometimes it can come off, but then come right back, and then they'll say to you, "Hey, I got it off." True. Well, can you get it back off? Sure, I can, but it's gonna cost you. So now you don't pay double for something. So that's why somebody say, "Hey, well, can you get it off of me in 7 days?" No, I can't. Why? Because number one, I don't offer expedited service. So if I offer you expedited service, I'm not FedEx. This ain't FedEx. This ain't UPS. We're gonna follow these laws. So when it finally comes off your report, it ain't ever coming back on that report because
mm.
I did it properly.
So this stuff, does pulling your credit report hurt your credit, or
Yeah, that
uh,
goes back to those inquiries. Just as much as going to a dealership and him
mhm.
shopping you around hurts you. It is you continuously pulling it hurts you as well. However, you could, if you obtain a subscription from one of these companies, you can pull it as much as you want, and it doesn't bother you to look at it because the bureau only updates once a month. If you get a subscription to some of these service to Experian, they could update it for you immediately within the 24-hour period. Sometimes they'll do it immediately because you're paying for a subscription.
Subscription.
Yeah.
Reggie, this something I'm paying my creditors, paying on time and stuff. I was like, I don't want them to report that to the credit bureaus. Um, can they do that? I mean, can I request that?
That they not report it if you're paying on time?
Yeah.
No, you want them to report it. If you're paying on time, you want them to. What you don't want is to miss that payment and hit 30 days. Now they're reporting it. But what you
Mhm.
still can do is, even in that late, you can still get that removed, even if they report it. So you're working with your creditors. You're working with companies such as myself to help get those things removed off your report. But if you got 50 lates, I had a customer one time that says, "Oh, I ain't got but one late." Yeah, so that's all you got. That's all I got. So, oh well, man, this is a breeze. Let me pull it. So, and I pulled the report, looked at it. It was about 50 lakes on it. This is not an exaggeration. This was like 50 lakes on it. And I was like, brother, I thought you was only saying there was one on here. Oh, I didn't know. You knew when you missed 49 payments, you was late. You knew. So yeah, to go on there. And that at that point, it becomes a fight to get this stuff off your report so that you can move on. And whether you want to get another mortgage or whatever you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. And you'll see this. I don't, somebody that filed bankruptcy. They like, Reg, I did my time. I filed, I paid the costs. I was in the dumps for 4 years, and these people won't even talk to me about removing it and correcting it. Is there legal ways that can happen?
Yeah, it is. Actually, um, anything that's on your report, it is by the creditor reporting it. But the court systems do not report it. It's public information, but the court systems don't report it. So who reports it? So you have these secondary companies called LexisNexis. You got Innovis. You got some of these other secondary ones that are going to report it. They're like reporters. They're going to go get the information and report it, and there it is on your report. And now the credit bureaus, the different bureaus are now showing the world that you file for this. But if you do your homework, you work with companies, certain credit counseling companies, they can help get those things removed by putting the laws involved.
And Reg, I'm gonna ask this. Now we said, Reg, I want to sit down. I want to consult with you. How can they contact you?
Yeah. I got two ways. Whether you want to contact me through email, that's NEW, New Beginnings Credit at yahoo.com. That's with an S. NEWBEGINNINGS CREDIT at yahoo.com. Or you can contact me directly via phone. As I'm an avid movie watcher, so as Big Red said in the Five Heartbeats, my office hours are. Yeah, my office hours are. So you call me at 9 o'clock, I may not answer you. You call me at 443-880-3064. 443-880-3064. Love to speak with you to help you get on track to get some things removed off of your report. So those are two ways you can call me, and I'll do a soft pull. I won't even do a hard pull. I'll do a soft pull, going in the back door, pulling up that report, taking a look at it.
Should we pull credit reports for our children or?
Yeah, I think it's great because old school was people was putting stuff in their children's name. So I think it's great to pull your kids' report, especially at the age around 12, pulling their reports and then start teaching them about credit. I think it's never too early to teach them how to handle credit.
Okay. And tell me this, Reg. We also got another question here. Do joint credit card accounts with my spouse affects my credit score?
Yeah, it does, because if it's on, especially if they're paying it on time, you and your husband share a credit card together, and somebody's paying it on time, whether it's the wife or whether it's the husband. It's a great thing. The problem comes in is two things. One, when they stop paying. Now, their credit not only goes bad, but yours goes south too. Or God forbid you divorce. So now you got to immediately let the credit card company know that you are no longer together, so that they do not penalize the both of you, even though you're no longer married. You may have to prove that you're no longer married, but you need to make those calls immediately. I'm going to suggest that if you both got a card that you share together and you're paying it, or I forgot about this part, you get stuck with the bill. Now you got to pay it off while they go scot free. So what I'm going to suggest is that as you both have the card, that you only go on that card for a limited time, and then call the company to actually have yourself removed from the card, especially if you're not the primary. If you're the secondary, have yourself removed from the card after a certain period of time. Get your own card.
Yeah, and discuss that dispute method, for them, that can make sense, because I know, people say, oh man, I'm just going in and click this button I see on Credit Karma to dispute.
Yeah.
How does it really work?
So there's something called eOscar. When you go on there and you send these disputes out, eOscar looks at your reason to see if it's frivolous, to see if it's if it's worthy. It's going to take about 30 days, and a lot of times it'll say 30 days, but it'll kick it back within a few days, and sometimes it'll come back and says verified, no change. Did they really send it to your creditor? Possibly not. They scan through because it's a computer system that scans through, and it's called eOscar. Is what the different companies use, and they all scan through the file and checking the validity of these debts, and then they'll just spit it back out and says frivolous because
Oh
you
wow.
didn't put any laws in. You just say, hey, this ain't mine. So they figure, hey, anybody could have said this ain't theirs, and they'll kick
Yeah.
it back.
Oh, so you got to have some law. You got to have something to back you up when
Yeah,
you
yeah. When you got
doing
some laws involved and certain language, Oscar kick it back now. It's got to get to another place. You really want to have that done. That's why a lot of times I always advise against just disputing it on your report.
Mm. So tell me about this security freeze. Everybody said, put a freeze on it. You know, when you go, they can't even do nothing. They can't put nothing on there. How accurate is that
Oh, that's
information?
accurate. Yeah, you put that freeze. You can't pull your report. They can put something on it. That when I say
Mm,
that's accurate, let me just go back. Let me say that. Let me rewind the tape. You can freeze your report. You can't pull it, neither can anybody else pull your report. But they can put whatever they want on that report. It's just when you
mm,
go to get credit to get somebody to extend it to you, the person on the opposite end can't pull it because it's frozen. So
mm.
you have to prove it's you and get it unlocked temporarily so that they can go through and pull it. So
Wow.
security freeze, it helps protect you to some extent, but there's still a company. If you default on a loan, oh, trust and believe they still can put it on there.
Mm. So security freeze only helps you if somebody's trying to pull your credit.
If somebody's trying to pull you, you got a bunch of people pulling your report. It stops them from pulling the report. Yeah, stops them
So,
from pulling the report, looking into your report. You go to a store to obtain credit. The company just won't pull you because now you got all these companies, especially this time of the year, like you got different retail companies. Giants are now saying, "Hey, well, give us your information. We'll just want to see. Ain't gonna be no harm to your credit. We just want to see what's on your report and see if we can get you approved." And as soon as they pull it, it is a harm to you.
mm. Wow. So I'm freezing my credit report. I'm going to buy a car. I say, hey, I'm about to freeze this report. So I know that I got the opportunity to tell them how many times I want to pull it for that one time there. Or I can take them my report, which they probably not going to use that. They want to do it on their own. Can somebody really be turned down for a job because of a credit report? I mean, do an employer have access to your credit like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, they will get you to sign all of the necessary documents so that they can go on and pull that report. And of course, they'll look at it. However, you can't be turned down because of your credit report.
Mm,
Shouldn't be. I do know that there are times and in situations where there are people who literally to keep their job and their security clearance have to have a decent score to keep your security clearance.
mm. And that's amazing. And people don't know that.
No,
Um,
they don't. They
that
just think they go get these good government jobs and they're gonna be there forever. Well, I've got government employees that come to and they say to me, "Hey, I only got 6 months to get my act together. I need your help." So I have to
mm,
help them to keep their security clearance, or either they get bumped down and they lose that position.
mm. And some folks say, why is some of my debts not showing up on my credit report? Is it a delay in that time frame? Um,
Either it's a delay or it's the company itself that is not reporting as accurately or as fast as they should.
Mm. And you probably have to call them and let them know that, hey, I've been
Yeah,
paying on time. can you update this? Does it cost for them to do that, or?
No, it doesn't cost. There's no charge for that. All you have to do is just reach out to them, and they will make sure that happens. You're gonna
Mhm,
have to go through a little red tape and find the right department. But yeah, if you just ask them, they'll report it. Most of the time, most companies are pretty good at reporting.
mhm,
Sometimes do it within 30. Others have done it within a 45-day period.
mhm. Question is, I'm in the military. Can I exercise my right under the SCRA to hurt my credit score, or can my lender or creditor close my account or reduce my credit?
I didn't understand the credit. The question.
So, if you're in the military,
Yeah.
can exercise in my Servicemen Civil Relief Act
Okay.
(SCRA) hurt my credit score, or can my lender or creditor close my account because I want to activate my right to do that?
No, because of course, Uncle Sam protects his guys. You just need to let your creditor know about it up front so that it does not hurt you.
What is that Service Member Civil Release Act? What does that have
Yeah,
to deal with?
well, what that does is it for those who have been deployed. If you're being deployed, you can actually use that so that they will not close accounts, or what they do is they'll temporarily freeze them, because especially
Mm,
in times of war, they'll temporarily freeze them so that you can, if you're being deployed and maybe you can't return back for a certain period of time, so that you don't lose certain accounts.
Oh wow, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So service members, when they deploy, they can let the people know, their creditors.
Yeah,
They've been,
so from creditors to a lot of different places. This is even in applications when you fill them out now.
Mhm.
And certain credit card companies have this in their disclaimer.
Oh wow.
So that's something that you just have to let them know. But it must be immediately, as soon as possible.
Mm. Does my history of paying utility bills like telephone, cable, electricity, or water go into my credit report, or can I have them put it on there?
Yeah, you can. Experian is good at doing credit boosts. And so, as long as you've had that account for 2 years, that account must be for 2 years, and it must have been coming out of a certain bank account. So, as long as you have had the account for 2 years, and as long as you've paid those bills out of one bank account. If you've paid those bills out of 3 or 4 different bank accounts over several years, not going to work for you, because
Really?
whatever you go in to report it and says, "Hey, I paid it out of this account," then it's gonna the computer's gonna scan your account, your bank account, and then it will spit out, the extra score for you. Yes, you can.
Oh wow. I'm an authorized user on my deceased relative's credit card account. Am I liable to repay the debt, or will it show on my credit report?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You're the authorized user, and they happen to perish. Absolutely, you are still responsible for paying that debt.
Being an authorized user.
Yes,
Oh wow.
yes.
Wow. So wouldn't that go to my estate? If that was the case, wouldn't it go to the deceased person's estate?
Yeah, well, of course they're going to try to collect from there, to get that first. But if they cannot, then they will come and try to collect from you.
Oh wow. Wow. So y'all might want to give Reggie a call here. I'm gonna give you his number again at 443-880-3064. Call him up. You might have some of these situations going on. To reach him, sometime I know we can be a little embarrassed. Send him an email, new beginnings with a S, credit@yahoo.com. These are interesting information that can help us along this timeline of stuff happening to us. We run into these situations. We don't know how to act. We need to know the law. We need somebody that knows the law for these credit for it, and not to pull a fast stun and say, man, I'll take it off right now. And 3 months later, you're like, yo, why is that thing back at looking at me? Because we didn't follow the proper procedure in doing this. So we need that person that specialized in the credit, as Reggie does, as he was talking about. It's certain things that we need to step into, and we need to understand that and have a consultation to get us through that, for that, and go from there. Something else, customer asks, do auto and insurance companies share my information about claims and policies through my credit report? Reggie, can that be done?
No, they don't. They don't share it through your credit report. But they do pull your report to see to get you the best quote. That's what insurance companies will do, but they don't share it with across the board.
Oh wow! So my credit score can affect those premiums that they asking me for.
Absolutely, yes.
For it and stuff, and that makes sense, because for that. What do you think about identity theft and what really happens with that? Somebody say, hey, my identity was stolen, everything's maxed out. Reg, is it laws that govern me to where they cannot force me to pay that debt?
Well, when you've had identity theft, you're going to now have to do a lot of legwork. You're going to have to go get police reports. You're going to have to prove that this was not you. And then what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of people are on the dark web. So you'll get all of these alerts saying, hey, you need to change your password. It's been compromised. And so you just been pre-approved for this. Do you want this? And you say, I didn't apply for anything, and you ignore it. Well, please don't ignore it. It could be an indication that somebody has your information. So you want to make sure that every so often you go in and change your passwords. If you look now, when you go to change passwords to anything, it'll spit out all of these like over a 12-digit number for you, 12 to 15-digit number for you. And most people don't want to save that, and they just hit I'll change and do my own. But it will spit those out, because now we're living in a day where you got more people having identity theft than anything.
You said the dark web. Tell us what that's about.
So the dark web, prime example, I'm gonna use myself. I remember I was getting ready about 2 days to go out of town. I was going to go out of the country for vacation, and a Sunday evening, I'm relaxing, and I get a call from my bank saying, hey, are you at PetSmart trying to buy $300 worth of pet supplies? And I said, no, I'm at home. And so they was like, somebody is at PetSmart trying to use your info to get into your account. So they, of course, I was talking to the store manager, wasn't me. And so they literally left and went to McDonald's and ordered $50 worth of food. They was at the drive-thru ordering $50. They had a print of my card. So whether I was at a restaurant or whether I was at the gas station, one of those places was able to get a print of my card, and they literally was trying to shop. Well, we had to shut it down. They didn't get it. And then somebody in California was trying to get something. By this time, the cart was already shut down. So that came from the dark web.
Wow. Can you get off the dark web, or?
Yeah. There's certain things you can do to go in, make certain adjustments, and get yourself off that, so that if they try to go in and get it, they're already blocked.
Oh, man. Folks, I'm telling you, give Reggie a call, 443-880-3064. New Beginnings Credit at yahoo.com. We need these things so we know how to protect ourselves. We need somebody that specializes in these type of areas and knows the law. We know we got FACRA and Credit Reporting Act, and all that information is so important so we can protect our livelihood. Because out here, when we start seeing this stuff happening and people don't know what to do, and then they just sit there and they, what happened? Oh man, just forget it. I'm buying everything cash. At some point in time, credit affects how you maneuver.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
and you got to buy the house unless you got a whole lot of cash saved up to buy that house and stuff. Everything's changing. But the question you have to ask yourself is, do I know how to protect myself? Do I understand the guidelines that protect me? Almost like student loans, Reg. Tell us about student loans. I mean, people stuck with them. Some of them might be forgivable. Some of them might not.
Yeah, yeah. It's called IDR, income driven repayment. Those are where you go on, you apply, and especially where they will pause your student loan. That they'll put it in a freeze status so that it's not continuously to affect your score. And then they'll while you're doing that, you can actually after so many payments that they'll go through, you can actually apply to have the whole thing just forgiven, especially
Mm,
if your school is no longer in operation. Yeah.
mm.
So I explain all of those things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the line open for an hour for everybody, for all of your clients that want to call me between now and 9 o'clock. I'm going to keep it open for them.
Yeah, yeah. As I said, 443-880-3064. Send him a text.
Yeah.
Um, Call him, let him know. Folks, we sharing this information not just to let you know that we have resources, but you have to know that the people's in place to specialize in certain areas. I do financing. That's my specialty. I'm not a credit specialist. I know about credit. I know what it looks like and stuff. But you have Mr. Adams here. He specializes in that. He reviews that. He acknowledged that. He knows the different laws that's associated with that. That's a conversation you should be having to protect that, because longevity is what we need. Our children needs to know how to go forth and be able to protect credit, be on there on these credit cards, maintaining and buying stuff. All these things happen for a reason, and understanding the reason of what we're talking about is so important. I don't know how many people I get to talk about, late payments and this would happen. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm lending money. All I know, you was late.
Right.
That's what
Absolutely.
matters. That's what matters. Now, Reggie might have a solution for. He might ask a little bit more questions than I'm gonna ask. Why was you late? What happened there? And he can provide you with that law. I'm like, you was late. As long as it say you late here, this the guideline, this the rules. But you have to have somebody that can support your efforts and get you what you need so you can be able to get those questions answered over and over again and get that discipline you need. Student loans, it's a huge problem now because, during COVID, we went through so much, people going to school to better themselves and stuff. Now we have this enormous amount of student loan debt. And we have to be very mindful of that. Rich, tell us this: can that IDR stop as the interest to accrue on those loans, or what
Yeah.
happens in that process?
It stops everything. It comes to a screeching halt, especially now that the election has come and gone, and we are now marching towards January for a change of power. So
Huh.
right now, everything is at a screeching halt. So interest, payments, all of that. When you go through, able to get into the income-driven repayment, everything comes to a screeching halt until further notice.
And some people, it's a myth out there that, hey, I gotta make that loan got to be there for 20 years before we even do anything. And you're like, man, I got 15 more years ago, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
and stuff, you have to know the guidelines for that stuff, because some of that might not be true. Like he was talking about the schools not in service no more. That's a conversation for Reggie. Reggie's number is 443-880-3064. Call him, ask him the question, send him a text. Yo, Reggie, I seen this podcast. This podcast is going to be saved on YouTube. You're going to see this podcast and you're going to like, yo, Reg, I seen this. Can you educate me and help me get through this situation? What it's going to be. If you're too ashamed to call or text, New Beginnings Credit at yahoo.com gives you the opportunity to send him a message. Write down your scenario to make yourself financially free from this debt that you have, from the things that's hindering you from going through that, and let him explain that to you. I call him all the time. I need to know, because people give me ask me the questions. I go straight to the expert because he knows, he understands the rules, he understands the guidelines to get them there. And then I'm like, hey, you gotta call Reggie, because he can break it down a little bit more, because I'm not going to be able to quote that. I'm not going to be able to look up under that Serviceman Act and the COVID Act and all this stuff, where stuff start lingering, because we're really coming out of COVID now. And coming out of COVID, we've seen a lot of stuff change and stuff. And right now is one of the things changing is people's credit, and it's done got worse. We done had freezes during COVID. The creditors have been more lenient than we can ever imagine. And we like, oh man, I got a break. They ain't coming, but they're coming now. They're coming, as Reggie said. We got a change of power happening in January. Yeah. I'm encouraging people, get your stuff together in the right parameters so that we can make sure that we get this stuff going in the right direction. If we don't do that, we have a total problem now. For it, and how we gonna maintain our lifestyle, how we buying houses, cars, our credit cards, our life insurance, our automobile insurance. All these things are affected through credit, and we need to know how to do it. Don't get to the mindset, well, I'm not going to use credit and stuff. We can't operate in that timeline. Our grandparents did it for years, and they were successful, because guess what, Reggie? I mean, you done seen it back then. We can buy a $50,000 house.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can get some. You go get you try to get a trailer for $50,000. It ain't happening.
It's not.
Go try to get land for $50,000 in a neighborhood that's going to be reliable to be able to build and stuff like that. You still can't do it. You can get the land, but you still got to put the house on there for it. So we're encouraging people right now, get that together. Get that all summed up. We all fell short. We all have these discrepancies on our credit. Some of the stuff I see, we got multiple addresses on there. We talked about that at the beginning. Get that stuff cleaned up, because when we get into underwriting, you know what happens? Oh man, tell me when you lived here, and you start to think like, man, I don't even remember. Mm-hmm. But guess what? You have to get that stuff cleared up, so we won't have that problem to say, oh, we can't remember when it comes to. Go find out, because I want to make sure you don't own that property over there. Go find out to make sure you don't have no liabilities over there, for what you've done. Them late payments, them bankruptcies, you got to ask Reggie. He got the understanding how to get that right and to make it work. How to work on talking about collections and repossessions, and it's so much stuff we didn't touch here that it's going to take some time for you to sit down and really understand what's happening in this whole realm of what we're doing. It's a process that needs to have, and it's a conversation we need to have over and over and over again. But folks, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. I'm gonna give it to you like I supposed to. It's nothing but the honest to goodness truth. That's why I'm telling you, call Reggie, 443-880-3064. Email New Beginnings, NEWBEGINNINGS, credit, CREDIT, at yahoo.com. New Beginnings Credit at yahoo.com. Call it up, text them, email them, so we can have some resolution to some of these things that's happening out here. Reg, man, I appreciate it. I'm gonna let you have some
Thank
last
you.
comments before we go. I mean, we can't get folks to come on here and explain his circumstances to people, and this is not credit repair. He's a credit counselor. He's a counselor. He's a guider to what happened when it happened, what laws is associated with this. So if you're looking for somebody to say, hey man, take this off because I'm closing in 2 weeks, please don't call. This is not that type of situation here. You messed up. It's your debt and stuff, and something happened. You in the hospital and stuff, and Reggie has some guidelines that covers that stuff. You call him so he can guide you through that, but just don't call man, Reg, I got upset with the person and they didn't want to listen to what I had to say, so I stopped paying them. This is not that type of situation, because it's not going to be what you want to hear. We're going to give you the honest to goodness truth of what should happen, what needs to happen, and how it happened, so we can resolve the issues. Because we know that in this practice today, we do have some shortcomings. We do have some things that was done all unlawful, and get it going. So, Reg, if you can close us out and let us know anything else you can tell us right quick before we shut down, it'd be appreciated.
Yeah, give me a call. Love to. I'm gonna keep the line open till around 9 p.m. And like Johnny said, if you got something that you say, listen, I got a meeting. I'm trying to close next week. Yeah, well, good luck with that. You can't. Don't call me. I can't help you. If you say, hey, listen, I've got till June, or I've got a little time. I'm not pressed for it. I want to get it off. Now you want to call me. You want to talk to me so I can help
That's
you
right.
get this stuff off. Of course, we're going to go through every bit of it. And I promise you'll be happy when we conclude. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Absolutely. Thank y'all again for attending. We love y'all. We want to get y'all right. We want to get y'all financial free. Give us a call, this Creative Financing with JB. I'm coming back every week with some new stuff, some new people, some new guidance. But check us out tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna have something dealing with investors. I'm gonna be with my main man Gary Williams tomorrow to be talking about that, expert in commercial lending, commercial purchasing, buying that building, buying a block, and getting it done. Man, we appreciate you for tuning in this week. And we'll see you next week. Y'all have a great evening. Thanks.